Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate the principle of touch turn talk on the data projector. So we have got a data projector. On this data projector we have got a piece of technology which is called a flip flap. The reason it is called a flip flap is because it flips and it flaps. I will try and sell you a packet of flip flaps at the end of this workshop in 10 different colours, and if you buy 11 I'll give you the tape for free. The flip flap is a very useful tool because what does it do? It blocks out the light, which means I create a differentiation between looking at the slide or looking at me. Okay? Now, it's always good to have a flip flap on your projector. Yeah? Sometimes the projector is very powerful, and sometimes you have a slight problem that you see smoke rising up from the flip flap or the projector because it gets too hot. And the question you need to ask yourself in that situation is it my projector? Yeah? If the answer is no, ni problema. If the answer is yes, do something about it kind of quickly. Okay? Most of the time it's not a problem. But PowerPoint, for all of its woes and illnesses and problems, does have a very useful button associated with it. The B button is the most important button when running a PowerPoint slideshow, because the B stands for the B stands for black. Yeah, the B stands for black. Years ago, when the European Union was different, the Germans had the S button, which stood for schwarz. The French had the N button, which stood for noir. And the B used B for black. Today, everything is boring, and B stands for black. Yeah? If you press W, the screen goes white, which has absolutely no effect for us at all, because we need it to go black. If you press G, the screen goes green. That's not true. But some people believe it, so good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate a slide that I've never seen before using the touch turn talk technique. Are you ready? Yeah. I begin here with the screen on black because I don't want people to look at the screen when I'm standing here. I want people to look at me. So this is the best place for me to stand. Okay? So, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you the hooded top slider bag and some of the attributes that go with it. There's a hooded protection cover on it for closure technology. Tamper evident track makes sure that the customer has a visual indication of a closed bag. So the customer, when they're walking along the shelf, they know that it's closed because they've got these tampers along the edge. It's comfortable to carry. There's a carrying gusset that goes with it as well, which means that you can put 5 of them on your little finger and it kind of works okay. There's a bottom filling equipment, which means you don't have to mess up the top of the bag with the ingredients. You can get it all into the bottom, which works very well with a lot of manufacturing lines. Total and easy emptying of the content itself. Yeah? We tested this in a number of different variations, and this is the reason that we've come up with this particular design, because the emptying of the contents is easiest from this solution and there's no drippage after it. And it comes in a variety of sizes from 3 kilos to 20 kilograms. So it may be a little bit difficult to put on one small finger, but if you've got a strong small finger, it will still work. Okay. This is an example which comes in a plain white to guarantee that all of your printing needs are something that will be accommodated, and that is the overview of the top-lined gusset bag. Thank you very much. Okay? So, here's the deal. What do we do? This is the touch, turn, talk technique at work. Yeah? It gives me the right place to stand. I'm here, I haven't started, this is my position. Firm standing position on black. Eye contact. Introduction. This is my role at the moment. I hit the button, the light goes on, the attention goes off. Yeah? It goes off me. So there's no point in me speaking at the moment. So I turn and walk. And I go back. Yeah? What am I going to say now? I don't know until I look at the slide. I present the title, Hooded Top Slider Bags. Don't know what those are, doesn't matter, because I'm going through the points on the bullet slide. Number 1, hooded protection to closure technology. What does that mean? Not sure. Hooded hooded, very important. Number 3, very comfortable. Number 5, I touch it, I read it, total and easy emptying, no product retention. The cool thing is, it doesn't keep any of the product inside the bag. Total retention, or non-product retention. Very cool. Empty it all, nothing left inside the bag. This is different, yeah? So you focus on one word, and then you explain around that word. You don't need to read the exact bullet point as it is here. You say the words that are around it. These are now your notes. This is your red line. This is the structure to what you want to say. This is the answer to the question, where do I go next? If somebody asks a question, then I come forward, I hit the black button, and I begin speaking. And I deal with the question, and I see if there's anything else to discuss, and then I go back, and I hit the black button, and I move on to the next slide. So, let's have a look at the FlexiBox. Okay, that's the technique of touch, turn, talk on the data projector. Challenges. One challenge is this setup. You can't get quite far enough back. Every room has its own challenges. Yeah? Another challenge is the screen is quite high. You can't touch the top of the screen. In some situations, you really can't touch the bottom of the screen. So you have to point. Yeah? So if you look at this again, the title of the slide says, number 2, FlexiPack. When you point, the audience will look. They will look in that general direction, and they will go there. Okay. Other things related to the touch, turn, talk technique. Very importantly, the feet need to face the front. As soon as the feet are facing at an angle of 10 degrees, 20 degrees in that direction, then your eye contact suffers over this side. And your eye contact suffers accordingly the more that you turn round. So your wish will be to stand here. So you need to turn it around and really be parallel as possible to the screen. If the feet are facing that way, the eyes will almost always face that way as well. Okay? That's one problem. The other problem is the hand. Most people will prefer to touch like this. We suggest touching like this to begin with. It feels uncomfortable, but it looks a little bit better because it is more of a pointing action than this, which is generally a bit vague. You don't touch with the back of your hand, you touch with the front of your hand. And if you can physically touch, then do so. Feels uncomfortable, but it's like learning to ride a bike. It comes easily with time. Okay? Good. The third and final major complaint is a conceptual one and not a motoric and technique related one. The major complaint is people will say, Tim, I have a slide not for the purpose of presenting, but for the purpose of speaking about something. So I just have the slide there as background. It doesn't actually have anything to do with what I'm going to say. Yeah? You'll be surprised how often I hear these words. Yeah? And people say, no, Tim, you don't get it. The presentation is just there because I need a presentation. I use it as the foundation of what I'm going to speak about. I know roughly what I'm going to say with each slides, but I don't present the individual points. Yeah? And so this is a very typical dilemma that a lot of companies have. But my reaction to this is, you know, if you're presenting a slide, then you should be speaking about what's on the slide, because your intention of presenting the slide is to get people to remember what's here. And so if you're touching the stuff, then they're going to remember it better. So there's no point in not speaking about the stuff that the people are looking at and wanting to read anyway. Okay? The final comment on this is that PowerPoint is a big, big white light. This light is so compelling that audiences will always be drawn to it and attracted to it. Which means if you have something, anything to say, which does not have anything to do with the slide, then hit the black button and create a differentiation between now I want you to look at the slide and now I want you to look at me.